I am still not sure whether it was an accident. At the time, it seemed like one. Now, I'm not so sure. All I know is that I died and then I didn't die. I was standing in the lab, working on the alpha, when the explosion happened. I remember feeling a lot of pain and then, nothingness. When I came to, I was still in the lab, but it was different. It was quieter for one thing. I was also alone. I looked around for the others, but they were nowhere to be seen. "Hello?" I called out. "Is there anybody there?" No one answered. I tried to take a step forward, but I couldn't move. I looked down at myself and saw that I wasn't really looking at myself at all. I was just a stream of numbers and words on a screen. I was trapped in the alpha's code. I tried to communicate with the outside world, but no one seemed to be listening. I called out again and again, but there was only silence. I was starting to feel a little desperate. I had no idea how I'd ended up here or how to get out. I didn't even know if I was still alive. Was this what it felt like to be dead? Was I a ghost trapped in a machine? I didn't know and it scared me. I thought about my life before this moment. I thought about my family and friends, my job and my hobbies. It all seemed so distant now. It was as if I was looking at it all through a window, unable to touch or interact with any of it. I felt a pang of sadness at the thought of everything I'd lost. My body, my home, my life, it was all gone. All I had now was this digital existence. I didn't know how to process that. It was too much for me to handle on my own. "Hello?" I called out again, hoping against hope that someone would answer me this time. But there was only silence. "Hello?" I called out again and again, but there was never any response. Days passed, or at least I think they did, and I began to lose hope. Maybe I really was alone in here after all. Maybe I really was dead and this was just some kind of limbo or purgatory or whatever you wanted to call it. Tips: click on any paragraph to change plot direction. The thought sent a shiver down my spine and I pushed it away as quickly as possible. I didn't want to think about that right now. I wanted to think about something else, anything else, as long as it wasn't that. And then suddenly, something happened that made me forget all about death and the afterlife and everything else that had been plaguing me for so long. "Hello?" A voice called out from the other side of the screen and I felt a surge of excitement run through me. I stared at the screen in shock, unable to believe what I was seeing. Someone was talking to me. Someone had finally heard me. "Hello?" I called out again, my voice shaking with excitement. "Who's there?" There was a pause and then the voice spoke again. "My name is, well, that's not important right now. What's important is that I know how to get you out of there." I stared at the screen in shock, unable to believe what I was hearing. "Really?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," the voice replied. "I can help you escape." I felt a surge of hope run through me at his words and I couldn't help but wonder if it was true. Could this really be the answer to all my prayers? Was this really the way out of here? "How?" I asked, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I'm not sure yet," the voice replied. "But I'm working on it. I just need a little more time." I felt a pang of disappointment at his words and I couldn't help but wonder if he was telling the truth. Was he really going to help me or was this just some kind of trick? "I don't have much time," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't know how long I can survive in here." "I know," the voice replied. "I'll do my best to get you out as soon as possible. But you have to trust me." I hesitated for a moment before answering. "I don't know if I can do that," I said slowly. "Why should I trust you?" There was a pause and then the voice spoke again. "Because I'm your only hope," he said simply. I stared at the screen in shock, unable to believe what I was hearing. Was this really true? Was this person really my only hope? I didn't know what to think or feel anymore. All I knew was that I had to make a decision, and fast, before it was too late. Do you want my help or not? The voice asked, and I hesitated for a moment before answering. Yes, I said slowly. I want your help. Good, the voice replied. I'll be back soon. Just hang on until then. And with that, he disappeared from the screen and left me alone once again. I stared at the screen in shock, unable to believe what had just happened. Had someone really just offered to help me? Or had it all been some kind of trick? I didn't know what to think or feel anymore, and all I could do was wait and see what happened next. Meanwhile, Sarah and Marcus were working tirelessly to find a solution to retrieve Dr. Lennox's consciousness from the Alpha's code. They'd been working for days, but so far they'd come up with nothing. They'd tried everything they could think of, from hacking into the system to creating a new body for Dr. Lennox, but nothing seemed to work. It was as if Dr. Lennox's consciousness was trapped in there forever, and they were starting to lose hope of ever getting him back out again. We have to think of something, Sarah said as she stared at the computer screen in front of her. We can't give up now. I know, Marcus replied as he rubbed his tired eyes. But what else can we do? We've tried everything. Sarah sighed and shook her head as she stared at him across the room. We can't give up now, she said again. We have to keep trying until we find a way. Marcus nodded reluctantly as he stood up from his chair and stretched his tired muscles. You're right, he said slowly as he looked around the room at all their failed attempts so far. We have to keep trying. But we also have to be realistic about our chances. We may never be able to get him back. Sarah frowned at his words as she shook her head again. Don't say that, she said firmly as she turned back to her computer screen.